on to the main part of the agenda. First, I'd like to invite Cian Ginty from irishcycle.com to come up and have a few words about us, about his really impressive cycling trips to the Netherlands, which he'll tell you more about. But I think it's a really interesting way of seeing, going beyond what we have as our experience in Ireland and broadening our horizons. It's on my list of things to do. So I'm really interested in hearing more about this. So welcome, Cian.
Hello, everybody, and hello everybody online. And you're right.
Okay.
Is there a clicker or?
Just tell me.
Oh, just tell us.
There the clicker. Okay. Right. Do you want to go to the next slide? So who am I? I'm the editor of irishcycle.com. It's a reader-funded journalism website. I am educated in journalism, not in cycling, not in engineering or anything else. So what am I doing standing on a roundabout? Well, first a little bit about study tours. Next. Study tours are immersive. They should be immersive at least. There's nothing like a group of cycling and focusing on cycling for 2 to 3 days. It's not like getting a presentation or being at a conference. It's really about being there and seeing it. And our aspect of it, our approach to it is having presentations as a minor part of it. You need some backing and some grounding, but there's various different approaches, but we try to minimize presentations. Next. And it's on the ground. People, the attendees see it, they use it, and they see it being used by different groups of people. Next. Where to and too far? It's not just the Netherlands. I would strongly advocate the Netherlands, and that's where our focus has been. But there are other study tours, including Copenhagen and elsewhere. Next. So it's included councillors, campaigners, officials, Department of Transport officials, NTA officials, etc. Next. And but what am I doing standing on a roundabout in Utrecht? Next. And next. I was careful not to do that, but anyway. So as a journalist, I attended sorry. Yeah, no problem. As a journalist, I attended a 2014 study tour paid for by the Dutch government. The embassy was actually running out of journalists they could find. The actual embassy here in Dublin, and I was the last resort. But it ended up being life-changing for me in a good way. So next. And this is my reaction, or at least a kind of a glowing version of it, and kind of mixed in the years here, but because that partly wasn't actually open at that stage. But anyways, next. And meanwhile, in Ireland, when I went back, it's kind of like this all over the place. Next. And in the city of Amsterdam in 2015, so around the same time, they estimated they had over 150 international delegates of various sizes. So mostly focusing on cycling. They're really high demands. The city councils over there have specialized departments within their departments to deal with requests, and they also have outsourced teams to deal with their overflow. That's how many requests they get. So next. And so around the same time, you could see on Twitter and online that there was moves towards going Dutch, like the London Cycling Campaign, and I could see different people, different campaigners and city officials from all around the world going to the Netherlands. So the question was next, why aren't we doing it? I think there's a cyclist behind there, but anyways, yeah, there's a cyclist behind the screen there. But anyways, go next. So I started working with local experts and partners such as Andrea Pendengue. And next. And we say that our study tours are Dutch-Irish teamwork, that we translate each other, that sometimes when you're in a room or out about with a Dutch expert, there'll be some things lost in translation. Well, Andre might pick up on it, sometimes I'll pick up on it. Literally, we are translating sometimes, but it's also translating the different terms, translating the different contexts. Next. So we started in 2015 and ran until 2019 with a study tour a year. These were mixed tours and they included campaigners. They were fairly low costs. My idea was I wanted campaigners to see this because in London they were already going and doing the going Dutch thing as I saw a minute ago. So there was no point in doing them really high costs, and I don't think even at the time councils or officials were going to pay that much for them. But that changed after COVID. My work situation. Sorry, next. Changed, so it had to be professionalized. So since then, there's been a bigger demand. I wouldn't have worked out anyways with my full-time job previously. But we've had 6 study tours, and that's just ourselves. We know there's been others to Copenhagen and others to the Netherlands as well. Next. So because there's so much interest, you're going to get some headlines like this. That they're junkets. I really think they shouldn't be called junkets, and I don't think they are. There might be 1 or 2 people who treat them like junkets, but the majority definitely don't. And the majority come back to us with feedback that they feel they really got something off it. You'll always get somebody going on a trip that's a study tour or whatever that might treat it like a junket, but they're really are in an Ireland. Next. So there's a bit of academic backing. I'm not going to read all this or the next 3 slides, but just to highlight a bit of it. This is from the, I should have the Urban Cycling Institute in University of Amsterdam, Meredith Glazier, learning how to build a cycle path, for example, was generally not reported as a main outcome. So often, this is a key one for me, because often people say, send everybody over to learn how to build a proper cycle path. While I think there is scope for some people, especially very technical people, to do that, I don't think it's the main point of study tours. It's maybe a subsection of it, but it's not the main point. The main point is getting the overall picture. Next. And this is important. It's got to do with the group dynamics and having the shared memories, form a mutual understanding and consensus. That really rings a bell. So I only read this after years of doing study tours, but that really resonates with me. It's when you see groups going over and there's councillors and officials and they can talk to each other in ways they normally wouldn't. Normally they'd either be over the phone or by email with each other. And this way they're able to look at a project in the Netherlands or whatever and say, could we do that back at home, or how could we do something better? So not quite the fine detail, but more like a vision. And next. And this is one of the main things that we've seen come back is the level of commitment and motivation from councillors. And that really has been shown, I think, in some of the councils. Now, it's very hard to put an exact figure on that, because you're then rating each councillor and you're getting into a lot of detail. But overall, I think I have seen it in some councils. Go ahead, next. And now we have 360 million euro for walking and cycling. So I mean, if we have that money for walking and cycling, and we want to spend it properly, and we don't want to get everything jammed up with councillors saying no and everybody else saying no. Next. And bit more backing. Mike Bam, a TU Dublin student, interviewed a official in Dublin, and he said it was the most cost-effective measure local authority. Next, and I think the actual paper said it was a bit stronger, that study tours would be transformative and the best possible use of active travel funding. Like, I mean, that doesn't really correspond with it being junkets. So if anybody really thinks it's a junket, they don't know what they're about. And next, I can't read that. Nobody can. You'll have to move the little icon. So it was a total line opener is the main bit I've highlighted. So I'll need to remember next time not to keep away from the borders in presentations. So he was interviewed in the Times, and next. And this is just another example. It was a nice phrase. So next. And sorry, just to go back if you can. Like, if it's a junket, they're out in the rain getting wet. So not too much of a junket. Next. Who benefits? So I think you could class them, and I don't think I've quite got the names right here. I think they're very loose. So I'd have three different kind of terms or classes for levels of where people are at, maybe. And councillors and officials leaning on the fence would be the first. And study tours can perform miracles. If the most anti-cycling councillor goes over in the study tour, he's probably just going to be, he or she's probably just going to be disruptive. Maybe they won't be, maybe they'll just stay quiet, but are they really going to come back transformed? Doubt it. But maybe people on the fence are slightly leaning on the fence. Yeah, but you'd be surprised some of them that might move a little bit. And I think that's the first bracket. The next. And there's those already on the fence. They're already kind of saying positive things about cycling. And study tours can, I think, push them a little bit further on. And next. This, while the last group was the largest group, the largest group of councillors, the ones where most councillors are at, I think. This is, I think, is the most surprising one. The people who are already jumping over the fence, or that's what they think they are, or maybe that's what most people think they are. But study tours aren't just for trying to change people's minds; they're also for professional development and moving people and giving people inspiration. Go on, next slide. And society benefits, because if we have all that money to spend, there's no point just getting everything caught up by planning. Am I on time?
No, I'm not paying attention.
Okay, right, next. So not everything.
It's very interactive.
Yes, it's interactive. I should have asked what format streaming. So nothing will ever have a 100% success rate. There will be people who go over on a study tour and they'll stay in their own mindset. You can't change that. It's about the whole group that you bring over, not just one person. And next. Sorry. But this though, so this is the photo for my first slide. And this was a motorway. So next, originally it was a moat. And then it was a motorway. And I mean, that's a picture to when we show these slides or similar ones, there's lots of different before and after photos of this particular road and the project. When you show them in a presentation first to a group on a study tour, they're kind of going, yeah, oh, that's pretty impressive. But when you arrive at the location, it actually transforms, and everybody's just like in a group talking or whatever, and then you say, well, you remember the photo? This is it here. This is where the motorway was. And then you can see people's faces kind of a bit more, okay. And that's the difference between just a presentation and actually being there. And the next one, sorry, the final one. And no, I meant the last one, but yeah, that's fine. And that's what it's like today, looking towards the water rather than the roadway. And the thing on a study tour that you can't really do on the presentation, unless you had all day to go through every street and street by street, is that not only is this motorway reduced to now one lane in each direction and cyclopaths, is the next street over, which was also a very wide road. I think before the last rework, it was 2 to 3 lanes in each direction, including turning lanes. That's now filtered. So that's the next parallel street over. And the opposite direction is the pedestrian street, is the pedestrian area. So not only have they reduced the motorway, they've also filtered a big, huge wide road. I kind of jokingly put in our program the world's largest modal filter, because they put essentially a plaza on one end of it, and it's only now an access street. That's it.
Great, thanks for meeting.
Cian, I think maybe we'll leave the questions until the end.
So we're getting loads already and keep them coming in.
Yeah, see they're coming in here. I think that was really fascinating, and I think for me it's like that multi-sensorial nature of doing a study tour, of like feeling it, being it, seeing, smelling it, seeing, I guess, hearing the sound of lack of traffic. That must really make it a very powerful experience. So like I said, it remains on my to-do list, and I'm really excited about making that happen. Now, next I have Robin. Robin, can you hear us? Okay, now, Robin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Hello, so let's see if I get this right, Robin, after our practice earlier. So this is Robin from Griend.
Perfect.
Not bad. From Mobycon. And he's going to share with us a little bit of what he does and how his organization.
Yes. Very interactive.
Oh, this is all very snazzy, Robin, now.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Challenging us on the technology here. And where are you dialing in from, Robin?
I am dialing in from The Hague in the Netherlands.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it's a nice, bright evening like it is here in Dublin tonight.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it was. Sun is set here already.
Yeah, you see. Lots
Sorry,
changed. Yeah. Is it working?
That's green and just scroll down.
Okay, go on, yes. Okay, thanks.
Okay, Robin, the gang here are going to drive. Are you adding him as a presenter?
Nope, I'm gonna share the screen now.
All right.
So thanks a million, Robin, and over to you.
Great, thanks. Yeah, so we were invited here today to share a little about Mobycon Academy, because we think this could maybe help you with capacity building in Ireland. But before we do that, let me just quickly introduce Mobycon as a company. So we can go to the next slide.
Oops. You there?
Yep, great. Yeah, so we're Mobycon. We're a consultancy for sustainable mobility. We work with all different kinds of modes of transport, but what we always do with our projects is that we always want to contribute to more livable places, and which make it easier for people to get around without a car. We can go to the next. And we work in several work fields. We are busy with network planning. We do design. We do public engagement, but we're also really committed to capacity building. If we can go to the next slide.
Me, thank you.
Yeah. So we have our roots in the Netherlands, and as you all just saw as well, it's a country with a rich cycling culture, and more specifically, it's a place where a lot of people use the bicycle to get around on a day-to-day basis, simply because it's a smart and convenient way to move around. Next. And while our roots are in the Netherlands, we work internationally. So we have offices in the Netherlands, but also in Germany and the United States and in Canada. And we have projects in several countries. We are specialized in taking best practices from a broad range of places and then bring them over. And then we collaborate with local partners to develop tailor-made solutions that fit the local context. And we've done that in Ireland as well. You can go to the next one. And this is something that also reflects in our capacity building activities. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. We have a platform for capacity building, which is called Mobycon Academy. And here you can find a range of content, most of it which is available for free and online. So you can access it through this link underneath, or you can access it on YouTube. And we can go to the next. And for example, what we offer is that there are webinars on various topics. For example, this one on how to achieve traffic calming within neighborhoods. And these webinars are sometimes they're introductory courses, sometimes they go into a little bit more detail. So they're on different levels. We can go to the next. And in addition, we have what we call mailback episodes where where our experts go into details, answer questions from the audience. And this is something that we have a couple of those which are available online, but this is also something that we can offer on demand as well. And we can also give feedback on assignments. You can go to the next. You will also find a couple of digital study tours there. And then we drive around by car or ride by bike or walk on foot through places in the Netherlands, but also through places in other parts of the world. So this can help you. I mean, it's not as immersive as an actual study tours, of course, but it will give you a good impression of what it's like to be in a different place. Next. And then we also have a couple of special guest interviews. For example, this one with Alan Bartley, with my colleague Angela, who's on the call here today as well. For example, which talked about the economics cycling. Next. And in addition, we offer completely customized trainings and study tours. This is something that we can do either online or on location. So just to give a quick overview, we have the Mobycon Academy, which offers you free online webinars. We can then add support, for example, with using live Q&A sessions, or we can do completely customized trainings and study tours online or on location. And then finally, just want to mention to you that there's a new episode on Mobycon Academy coming out today, which is about a junction that we introduced in Canmore in Canada. And I'm very proud to say that we won an Innovative Design Award for this intersection. So please go and check it out.
Congratulations.
Right. Thanks.
Oh,
Thanks a million.
thanks for
Thank you very much, Rob.
Yeah, I don't dare to pronounce it, but
Thank you, Val. That was really interesting, Robin, and I think that's something that's really accessible for people to access and to, better appetite before maybe signing up for one of Cian's study tours or from your something more from your side of the fence. And I think it's something that we as activists can engage in, but also talk to people, like talk to the councillors and talk to the council as we're in our engagement to encourage them to look your way as well. I think that's upon us to be able to share that knowledge. So really, thank you very much, Robin, and thank you, Angela, for being there as well. and we look forward to putting some questions to you all shortly. But finally, we have our third speaker of the evening. We have David O'Connor, who is Head of Environment and Planning in TU Dublin. And I look forward to hearing about some of the probably more deeper academic approaches to how people can build their capacity in the active travel space. So welcome, David.
Just 1 second, sorry. Very smooth transitions there.
I'm worried about how my borders are.
And there's more Griend, shots in the Griend here.
I'll see that, yeah, okay, good.
Okay, ready to go? Good, okay, thanks very much. Thank you very much for the lovely introduction. Lovely to be here talking to the Dublin Cycling Campaign and to Robin and Cian's excellent presentations. And actually, apart from worrying about borders, I was thinking about the immersive nature of what Robin and Cian were talking about, and also the shared memory that Cian mentioned. And I couldn't agree more. I'm going to talk a little bit about postgraduate education at TU Dublin, environment and planning. We're part of, we're in Bolton Street, and we're part of the School of Architecture, Building and Environment. So learning and sharing active travel knowledge and expertise, that's part of what we do. We'll go to the first slide. Thank you. Okay, so I'm probably going to focus on our MSc in Sustainable Transport and Mobility, but I should emphasize that this is one of a suite of postgrad programs that we deliver. They're part-time, they're professionally oriented, so they're targeted at mainly people who are sort of advanced in their career or sort of into their career, if you like, and are looking for a new sort of a new direction, if you like. And it came about very much a labour of love. A group of us from around the university, different schools, different disciplines, different professions, and different interests were involved in organising a conference together. It was great fun. We really enjoyed that, and we kept the conversation going. And we actually gave ourselves leave, I think, to keep talking about the things that we wanted to talk about. And through that, so on the left is a shot. It's not coming across very clearly there. It's from our program manual, and it was so we put together a program philosophy. And when I say labour of love, we did it on our own time. We did it over lunch. People came together. Lovely, yeah, brilliant. Okay, well, you can go back to the whole slide because I'll talk you through the different elements. And people brought their lunch, people brought their children, people brought chocolate, there was lots of tea and coffee, and we put together this program and a program philosophy, and at its essence, and it's nice to look at this again, because actually it wouldn't change very much, very little at all, but at its essence and its most important element is the multidisciplinary element of it, and that I think is a vital perspective. So the program is designed and delivered by two different schools, a School of Transport and Civil Engineering and a School of Architecture, Building Environment. And those disciplines, and as a co-chair, we're quite careful that both schools approve any program changes and both schools are involved in its delivery. So that's number one. Number two is it's skills oriented, but also giving people space for reflection. And we think that's really vital because people are thinking about things and wanting, so it's an opportunity for people to share perspectives, but also change and develop perspectives. And that's something that I'll talk a little bit about. We see it working very, very much. Thirdly, and the picture in the middle is a group of students. I should emphasize that this is students from two different master's programs, the MSc in Urban Regeneration Development and the MSc in Sustainable Transport and Mobility, working together in a summer school. So a little bit like an overseas field trip. And typically they'll spend, and it's an immersive deep dive, this is quite advanced into the program, and they're applying what they've picked up. So they'll spend typically over 3 days, a day listening to experts, talking to experts, a day on site meeting with local experts, as in the community. They'll meet with local representatives. So the last group were involved in Canada. They met local TD, they met local councillors, they met local businesses and local community leaders. And then the third day, they'll spend coming up with solutions which they present back to the people that they've met. So it's very, very immersive and it's very, very interactive, and it's a very sort of enriching experience for the students, and they come up with really, really valuable solutions. So that idea of engagement is right throughout the program philosophy. And thirdly, research and knowledge creation. So the students are enabled to, they carry out research as part. They carry it out in group formats, in group project work, but there's a module, a work-based research project where they can carry out a piece of research on something connected with the work. Then there's obviously a major dissertation. And we've had some real, so the program's in its 5th year now. We have our 5th group going through, and we've already had some success with conference presentations, but also submissions to policies that have had an impact. And that's, that's wonderful to see. So that's sort of the essence of the program. And as I say, sort of a labour of love from a group of people coming together and delivering this. So move on to the next slide. So I've mentioned the students, I should mention the people delivering the program, and just a little bit about it as well. So it is a 2-year part-time. So it's targeted at people who are carrying on the professional lives. It's, afternoon, evening, some weekends, block delivery format. So there's a level of flexibility in it as well, but it brings together people from very different backgrounds. So we see ourselves as facilitators, as enablers of knowledge creation and development. I've mentioned about multidisciplinarity, and there is if you like, there's a career focus as well. So it's the only program that's leads to recognition by the Transport Planning Society, and it's the only program outside in the UK. And we think that's quite valuable. It also leads to affiliate membership of the Irish Accounting Institute. So that professional recognition is very, very important. And I've mentioned already that it's delivered, it's almost co-delivered together with the NC and urban regeneration and development. And these programs can work closely together. That sharing of perspectives is very important. So that's something that people in the cycling camp, I remember when Kevin Baker came in and gave a presentation to us, he talked about, he told us that the cycling campaign, what they really want is a healthier city. And I thought that was a brilliant perspective. So that's how these programs can work well together. Great, next slide. Okay, so the program, all the information is there. I haven't updated it's a January start. So the next intake is January 2023. When we thought about it first, being a technological institute, we maybe had a natural focus on technology and technical skills, but the feedback very much that we got from industry was we also need to sort of think about the softer, the social, issues like governance. And we have all that, I suppose, from our architectural plan perspectives. So there's a real sort of balance in the program content there. There's some optional modules as well. We hope to engage in our field trip module again after the pandemic held us back. And we might talk to Cian about that sometime in the future as well. So that's a little bit about it on the next slide as well, please. So that's really it. To facilitate people to reflect, but also to grow and develop skills. And we really do see, not just in this program, but in other programs as well, that we continue to hear the names of our students and our graduates. That's nice. It was nice to see a lovely talk from Mike Bannum, and two of Mike's colleagues are mentioned there that have written about the program. So happy to take any questions, or if anybody wants to contact us, details are there. That's really it.